Marshall Ferguson here with your final Central Scouting Bureau rankings ahead of the 2023 CFL Draft. Now, these are the 20 best draft-eligible players coming up for May 2nd. There's a lot of NFL interest on the top of this list, which really could affect the way that this draft unfolds. Stick around to the end to find out exactly who they are and how highly ranked they have gotten. Let's begin with the back end. 9 of these 10 names are from U Sports. A couple names that are dropping a bit, but still excellent players after their showing at the CFL Combine in Edmonton a couple of weeks ago. You have Korte-Moore, an Ottawa native who comes from the UBC Thunderbirds, defensive lineman, a little bit of long snapping experience as well. Really good motor off the edge. And Harrison Bagiogo, defensive back from the Guelph Griffins, really impressed by him as he is still alongside Korte-Moore and a couple of others, including previously unranked Cole Tucker from Northern Illinois, who features as the lone NCAA prospect in the back 10. Now, in the top 10, it is all NCAA players, of course, because there's a lot of top-end guys in this draft who decided to head south for their collegiate playing days. We begin at number 10. It's Bemiy, talented defensive lineman from Southern Utah. Now, Bemiy is a very long and athletic player who hails from Montreal. He's 6'4", 270 pounds, played in all 11 games for Southern Utah, had 26 tackles and 3 sacks on the season. Right after Bemiy from Southern Utah, it's Lual Uguak from TCU, played in 14 of the 15 games for the Horned Frogs during their charmed run towards the NCAA's title game this past year. He is a very long player as well. Just like Bemiy, you're starting to sense a trend here in the defensive lineman. At 6'5", 271 pounds, he is an exceptional talent that your defense would love to be able to have. Up next at 8 overall in the Central Scouting Bureau's final rankings, it is Jonathan Sutherland, defensive back from Penn State. This Ottawa native is 5'11", 214 pounds, and absolutely lays the hammer when he arrived. He would be a fantastic Canadian Football League free safety should he make it to the league. I think he will after dipping his toes into the NFL waters for as long as he possibly can, but absolutely worth a very high draft pick in my opinion. At number 7, it is hulking 6'7" offensive lineman Dontae from the Fresno State Bulldogs by way of Victoria, British Columbia and Belmont Secondary. Now, this is a very NCAA heavy top end, but not a lot of offensive linemen featured. You start to think that Dontae being all 6'7", 320 pounds might factor in if your team is looking for an offensive tackle that they think might be able to get into a CFL camp sooner rather than later. At number 6, it's Jared Wayne from Peterborough, Ontario, and the Pitt Panthers, a very productive player on the field who recently showed off his athleticism during the Pitt Pro Day. That has changed his draft stock. From everything that I've seen, talked to people, and read, he certainly is getting more and more of an NFL look. How many NFL teams will have him on their board will likely impact whether or not he goes high in this CFL draft. If your team's in need of a receiver, this is the guy that everybody has their eyes on right now. At number 5, it is Eastern Michigan offensive lineman Sidy. Again, one of the most athletic players at their position anywhere in the draft. You don't get to the top 5 of the Central Scouting Bureau rankings unless you have a great mixture of playing experience, athleticism, and approach to the game. And Sidy certainly has all 3 of those, plus many other intangibles that have led him to this spot in his career. At number 4, dropping down a single spot, just like a lot of others in this top 5, thanks to the number 1 overall player coming up in just a minute, it is Tavius Robinson from Guelph Collegiate to the Guelph Griffins, down to the Ole Miss Rebels, defensive lineman. He is extremely long, 6'6", 265 pounds, and gets off the ball quickly. He would be a dynamic game changer in a CFL uniform. The question is, does your defense want to go get Tavius Robinson? And how early? He will be highly sought after throughout this draft. At number 3, you knew the Brown brothers were going to be featuring prominently in the Central Scouting Bureau ranking if you've been following along throughout the process. It is a 2-time All-Big Ten defensive back, Sydney Brown. The bragging rights, they go to brother Chase. Comes in just a second, but Sydney lands in the top 3 here at 6', 205 pounds, of course from London, Ontario. and would be a dynamic free safety, with his brother Chase coming in at 2nd overall here in the Central Scouting Bureau's final rankings. A Doak Walker Award finalist, certainly somebody that you could see being a dynamic game changer in your backfield. There's been many great names, of course, in Canadian running back history. Andrew Harris entering what should be his final season in the Canadian Football League. Is there a chance that there's a passing of the torch here with Chase Brown making his way to the CFL? We'll have to wait and find out, but he deserves to be ranked as high as he is, 2nd in the Central Scouting Bureau's final rankings. And that leaves just one more player. Moving up 4 spots in the final rankings, it is Matthew Bergeron, offensive lineman from the Syracuse Orange, who has 39 career starts at offensive tackle, most of them at left tackle after moving over from the right. He's got a lot of playing experience, he's very athletic, he has a very bright future ahead of him. The question is, will it be in the Canadian Football League? And if so, what uniform will it be in? You'll have to find out coming up on May 2nd. For all of your continuing coverage of everything CFL Draft, make sure that you stay right here on CFL.ca.